Your blood pressure just hit 180 over 100. That number is not just a warning, that is your body screaming at you. At that level, doctors call it a hypertensive crisis, and the American Heart Association says you are at immediate risk of a stroke, heart attack, or kidney failure. Right now, not someday, right now. And here is the part that shocks most people. A landmark study published in The Lancet found that nearly half of adults over 60 with dangerously high blood pressure had no symptoms at all. None. No headache, no dizziness, nothing. They felt completely fine, right up until they weren't. So what do you actually do? There are 5 proven, science-backed steps that cardiologists use, and step 1 is so powerful and so overlooked that researchers say it can drop your numbers by more than 20 points on its own. Stay with me. Number 5. Reduce sodium strategically, not completely. Most people hear cut salt and roll their eyes. They have been told that 100 times. But what most people do not know is how sodium actually damages your blood vessels, and why simply eating less salt is the wrong approach for most seniors. Here is what happens inside your body. When you eat sodium, your kidneys hold onto water to dilute it. That extra water increases the volume of blood flowing through your arteries. More volume means more pressure on the artery walls. Over time, those walls stiffen, and stiff arteries mean your heart has to pump harder just to move blood around your body. It becomes a vicious cycle. Now, here is the study that should make you take this seriously. The DASH sodium trial, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, tested 3 different sodium levels in participants and measured the effect on blood pressure. People who reduced their daily sodium intake from 3,500 milligrams to 1,500 milligrams saw an average drop of 11.5 millimeters of mercury in systolic pressure. That is the top number. For people who already had high blood pressure, that drop was even bigger, and this happened in just 30 days. But here is the problem that nobody talks about. If you are over 60, you have likely spent decades eating processed food. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that about 70% of the sodium Americans consume comes not from the salt shaker. It comes from packaged, processed, and restaurant food. So even if you stop salting your food entirely, you could still be consuming 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams of sodium a day without realizing it. The smart approach is not to eliminate sodium. It is to become aware of where it hides. The biggest offenders are bread, canned soup, deli meats, cheese, and frozen meals. A single can of chicken noodle soup can contain 800 milligrams of sodium. One deli turkey sandwich can push past 1,000. You can swap canned goods for low-sodium versions. You can rinse canned beans under water, which removes up to 40% of their sodium content. You can season your food with herbs, lemon juice, garlic, and black pepper, all of which add flavor without raising your blood pressure. The American Heart Association recommends staying under 1,500 milligrams per day for people with hypertension. Getting a cheap digital food scale and reading labels carefully for just 2 weeks will completely change how you see your diet. Now let's move to step 4, which targets something happening inside your arteries that sodium alone can never fix. If this is helping you, hit subscribe right now. We post life-saving senior health tips every week. Number 4. Use magnesium to relax your blood vessels. Most doctors check your blood pressure. Very few check your magnesium. That is a serious problem, because according to a meta-analysis published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, magnesium deficiency is directly linked to elevated blood pressure, and studies estimate that up to 68% of Americans do not get enough magnesium from their diet. So what does magnesium actually do? Think of your arteries like a garden hose. When magnesium levels are low, the smooth muscle cells lining your blood vessels tighten up. Your arteries get narrower. And when arteries get narrower, blood pressure goes up, the same way water pressure increases when you squeeze a hose. Magnesium is essentially the mineral that tells those muscle cells to relax and open up. A major double-blind, placebo-controlled trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition gave participants 368 milligrams of magnesium per day for 3 months. The result was a statistically significant reduction of 5.6 millimeters of mercury in systolic blood pressure and 2.8 millimeters of mercury in diastolic pressure. The bottom number. Those may sound like small numbers, but research from The Lancet has shown that even a 5 millimeters of mercury reduction in systolic pressure reduces the risk of stroke by about 34% and the risk of heart disease by 21%. So small numbers matter enormously. The challenge is that magnesium is notoriously difficult to get from modern food. Magnesium is absorbed by plants from the soil, but modern farming has depleted soil magnesium levels dramatically over the past 50 years. A spinach salad today contains significantly less magnesium than the same salad would have contained in 1970. The best food sources that still deliver meaningful amounts include dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, pumpkin seeds, almonds, black beans, avocado, and dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao. A quarter cup of pumpkin seeds alone delivers about 190 milligrams of magnesium. For supplementation, magnesium glycinate is the most bioavailable form, meaning your body absorbs and uses it most efficiently. Magnesium oxide is cheaper and more common, but your body absorbs only about 4% of it. Magnesium glycinate absorption rates are closer to 80%. The general recommended target for adults over 50 is 420 milligrams per day for men and 320 milligrams for women. But always speak to your doctor before starting a supplement, especially if you have kidney issues, since your kidneys regulate magnesium levels. Step 3 is where things get really interesting, because this one involves something that happens in your gut. Number 3. Eat nitrate-rich foods to widen your arteries. This sounds almost too simple, but the science behind it is genuinely remarkable, and it has changed how cardiologists think about food and blood pressure. Certain vegetables contain high amounts of natural nitrates. When you eat them, bacteria in your mouth convert those nitrates into nitrites. Then your body converts nitrates into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is one of the most powerful vasodilators, artery openers, your body produces naturally. Nitric oxide signals the smooth muscle lining your blood vessel walls to relax and expand. Your arteries get wider. Blood flows more freely. Pressure drops. It is the same mechanism that nitroglycerin tablets, a common emergency medication for heart attacks, used to work. Your food can trigger a similar process naturally. The most powerful study on this comes from Queen Mary University of London. Researchers gave patients with high blood pressure 250 milliliters of beetroot juice per day, roughly 1 cup. After just 4 weeks, patients saw an average systolic blood pressure reduction of 8 millimeters of mercury. That is clinically significant. Some participants saw drops of 10 to 15 millimeters of mercury. A follow-up study found that daily consumption of nitrate-rich vegetables maintained lower blood pressure over the long term, with effects comparable in some cases to low-dose antihypertensive medication. The vegetables with the highest nitrate content are, in order, arugula, beet greens, beetroot, spinach, and celery. Arugula actually contains more nitrates per gram than beetroot. Most people do not know that. Just 2 cups of arugula in a salad delivers a meaningful nitrate dose. There is one very important warning here. If you use mouthwash every day, you may be destroying this benefit entirely. Many antibacterial mouthwashes kill the oral bacteria that convert nitrates into nitrites. A study published in Free Radical Biology and Medicine found that using antibacterial mouthwash twice daily reduced blood pressure benefits from dietary nitrates by up to 90%. If you are drinking beet juice and rinsing your mouth with Listerine immediately after, you are undermining yourself completely. Using a gentle, non-antibacterial rinse is a much better option if you want to keep this benefit working for you. The best practical approach is to add arugula or beet greens to one meal per day. You can blend beetroot into a smoothie with apple and ginger to make it palatable. Celery is also a great snack option. Aim for at least 2 servings of nitrate-rich vegetables daily. Step 2 is something that acts even faster, and most people are not doing nearly enough of it. Number 2, do isometric exercise, not what you think. When most people think of exercise for blood pressure, they picture long walks or jogging. And while aerobic exercise is definitely beneficial, there is a specific type of exercise that has been proven to lower blood pressure faster and more dramatically than traditional cardio, and it is especially well suited for older adults. It is called isometric exercise. Isometric exercise is any exercise where your muscles contract but do not actually move. The simplest example is gripping something tightly or holding a wall sit. No running, no jumping, no equipment needed, just static muscle tension held for a period of time. The evidence here is extraordinary. A meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine in 2023 analyzed 270 randomized controlled trials covering over 15,000 participants. It compared the blood pressure effects of aerobic exercise, dynamic resistance training, high-intensity interval training, and isometric exercise. Isometric exercise came out on top. It produced an average systolic blood pressure reduction of 8.24 millimeters of mercury and a diastolic reduction of 4 millimeters of mercury. That is larger than the effect seen from most individual medications prescribed for stage 1 hypertension. The most effective isometric exercise in the study was the wall sit and isometric hand grip training. Here is exactly how to do isometric hand grip training, which is the most studied form. You need a tennis ball, a stress ball, or an inexpensive hand grip device. Squeeze it firmly to about 30% of your maximum effort. Not crushing it, but firm and sustained. Hold that squeeze for 2 minutes. Rest for 2 minutes. Then repeat on the other hand. Do this 4 times per session, alternating hands. 3 days per week. That is all. 12 minutes, 3 times a week. A study from the Journal of Hypertension found that after 8 weeks of this exact protocol, participants reduced their systolic blood pressure by an average of 10 millimeters of mercury, 10 points, from squeezing a ball. The mechanism is related to how isometric contractions trigger the nervous system to recalibrate vascular tone, essentially retraining your arteries to maintain a lower resting pressure. For the wall sit, stand with your back flat against a wall and slide down until your thighs are parallel to the floor. Hold for 30 to 45 seconds. Rest for 90 seconds. Repeat 4 times. As you build strength, work toward holding it for 90 seconds. This produces similar and complementary effects to the hand grip protocol. Now we have reached step 1, the most important step, the one that researchers say produces results unlike anything else on this list, and the one that almost nobody is talking about. Number 1. Control your breathing with the 4-7-8 technique and slow respiration training. This is the one. And before you dismiss it as too simple to be real medicine, let me walk you through the science because the data is stunning. Your breathing rate and your blood pressure are connected through something called the Breuer-Flex, your body's internal pressure regulation system. When you breathe slowly and rhythmically, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest side of your nervous system. This slows your heart rate, widens your blood vessels, and tells your adrenal glands to reduce the production of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. All of that lowers blood pressure rapidly and measurably. A study published in Hypertension, the Journal of the American Heart Association, found that slow-paced breathing at 6 breaths per minute for 15 minutes per day reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 13.5 millimeters of mercury after 8 weeks, 13.5 points, from breathing. The researchers concluded that this intervention was as effective as first-line antihypertensive drug therapy for stage 1 hypertension. Another clinical trial conducted in Italy and published in the Journal of Hypertension tested a device called Respirate, which guides users to breathe at 6 breaths per minute. After 2 months of daily 15-minute sessions, participants saw an average 10 millimeters of mercury reduction in systolic pressure and a 4 millimeters of mercury reduction in diastolic pressure. A meta-analysis of multiple device-guided slow breathing trials confirmed these results across different populations and age groups, with people over 60 actually showing stronger responses than younger adults. Here is how to do this right now without any device. The 4-7-8 method, developed and popularized by Dr. Andrew Weil of Harvard Medical School, is one of the most studied slow breathing techniques for blood pressure. You breathe in through your nose for 4 counts. You hold your breath for 7 counts. You exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 counts. That single breath cycle takes about 19 seconds, bringing you to roughly 3 breaths per minute, which is even slower than the clinical standard and produces a very powerful parasympathetic response. Do 4 complete cycles when you first wake up. Do 4 more before bed if you feel a spike coming, a stress moment, an argument, physical exertion. Stop and do 4 cycles immediately. A study in Frontiers in Physiology confirmed that even a single 5-minute session of slow breathing produces immediate, measurable drops in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. There is another dimension to this that makes it even more powerful for seniors specifically. Slow breathing activates your vagus nerve, the longest nerve in your body, running from your brainstem all the way to your gut. Vagal activation reduces systemic inflammation, which is one of the root causes of arterial stiffness in older adults. A study published in PLOS One found that people with higher vagal tone, a measure of how active and healthy the vagus nerve is, had significantly lower blood pressure, lower resting heart rates, and reduced levels of inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein. To get maximum benefit, practice this every single day. Consistency is everything. In the studies that showed the strongest results, participants practiced for at least 15 minutes daily over 8 weeks. You do not need a device. You do not need a gym. You do not need a prescription. You just need to breathe, slowly, deliberately, and consistently. Make it non-negotiable, like brushing your teeth. The body responds, the science is clear, and the results for seniors in particular are remarkable. A blood pressure of 180/100 is serious, but it is not a death sentence. These 5 steps, cutting sodium smartly, optimizing magnesium, eating nitrate-rich foods, doing isometric exercise, and mastering slow breathing techniques, are all backed by real peer-reviewed research. They work. Start with step 1 today. And if your blood pressure is at crisis level right now, please call your doctor immediately before trying anything else. Your life is worth that phone call. Now, we want to hear from you. Did your doctor ever mention slow breathing or magnesium for blood pressure? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.